Hello and good evening. This is Sayyiddah Zaidi here, certified high performance coach, positive psychologist, and certified business coach, welcoming you to another live video. Hello on Facebook, hello on Instagram, and I'm also going to be uploading this video later on to YouTube. So hello to everybody on YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about how to get ready for change, and in my opinion that's a really important topic, because what often happens is that people just they say they want to change something in their lives, but in reality actually what they do is they end up living that same day again and again and again, and there's no real room or space for change, if you know what I mean. And it's literally as if you desire something, but the reality of your life is just preventing that from happening, if you get what I mean. And I know that it can be quite challenging. So I've got a 3-step solution that is going to help you to get ready for actually implementing any real change that you want to literally make in your life. So what is the first thing that you do? The first thing is really to understand that there are different stages of change. And so there's a lot of psychologists that have actually analyzed this, and they've been just to summarize, they say that there's a pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance stage through change. And then they have a interesting method of starting and really going about how to actually begin a change. But what's really interesting for me is there's 3 key things. The first thing is you've got to diagnose what the situation is. And whatever the situation is, you've got to understand exactly what is going on. Without that analysis, it's very hard for you to then realize what your next steps are going to be. So if you are in a situation where let's say you want to move jobs, or you want to move from a city, or you want to do something different, you want to start studying something, understand what is the purpose behind that. And how you do that is by diagnosing exactly what your current situation is, and look at it from a number of different angles. Right? So don't just think that by you just literally writing down some stuff about what is the situation that is presented in front of you, you're going to have it had enough. You're not. Understand your current circumstances. How are they affecting your health? How are they affecting your wealth? How are they affecting your happiness? How is it affecting not just you, but perhaps even your extended family? How is the circumstance that you are in? What is the reality of that? And once you know that, you are then in a situation where you can decide what it is that you want to do differently. If you don't do that analysis, then chances are you may say, for example, I want to study, or I want to move city, or I want to get a promotion at work, or I want to start a business, or whatever it may be. Chances are you'll say that you want to do these things, whatever it may be for you. But actually what you'll find is you don't really understand why you're doing it, because you haven't done the diagnosis of the current situation that you're in. And look, I mentioned a few categories here. A really easy way to do a diagnosis is actually to give yourself a score out of 10. I personally find that is one of the most effective ways. So, for example, on a score out of 10, how's your health? What is your financial situation? What is your relationship situation? What is your family situation? What's your social situation? What's your intellectual situation? You can work all of those things out. And once you've done that analysis and you know why your current situation is the way that it is, then you can actually go on to the next stage, which is determining the results that you want. Because, for example, let's look at health. I mean, it's an easy one, and everyone, at some point, certainly in the last few weeks, because of the level of indulgence that's happened in the last 10 days and is probably going to continue for another few days, people are thinking about, in a couple of days' time, I'm going to start to get healthier, or I want to start going to the gym, or I want to start doing this. Well, and analyze what your situation is now, and then determine what you want to do. So, for example, this time last year, one of the things that I said that I wanted to do was, I was very clear that I wanted to join a gym. I set my body fat targets very, very specifically, and I said that I wanted to kind of continue doing my 5Ks and actually build up to a 10K. And I just started Parkrun, which is an excellent organization. If you've never heard of it, you can actually go out there and you can do free organized races. Well, they're not really races, but it's just a timed event. And, you're racing against you and your best self. So there's no real competition there, but it's about kind of working out what is it that you're actually capable of. So I determined what my results was going to be. I knew what my kind of key targets were. And having said that, it's very easy to know when you've actually achieved something. So when you've set out the results that you're looking for, you're more likely to actually work towards them. Whereas if you get into a situation where you just say, I want to get healthier, I want to earn more money, I want to go on holiday, it doesn't mean anything, because you're never going to know if you've actually got to that point where you can actually kind of like check that off and say that you've achieved, right? Big challenge there. So diagnose the situation, determine the results that are right for you. Now, not everybody's going to start at a 5-kilometer race, for example, or for a 5K run. Some people actually are going to set their targets much higher. Maybe it is to do a half marathon or a marathon by the end of the year. For others, it could literally be just walking for 30 minutes. You know what your situation is, and you know what your results should be. So never, ever in your life compare yourself to somebody else, because when you start to do that, you actually get to a place where you create kind of internal conflict for yourself. And when you do that, you're less likely to work and kind of keep pushing to get the result that you know that you're so capable of, right? So you've got to determine specifically the results that you are looking for, whatever that may be. And then third, decide your course of action. Now, how you do that actually is quite simple, because all you've got to do at that point is making the decision. The making the decision bit, ironically, is actually really, really challenging, because picking one thing out of a series of 4 or 5 things you can do, if I had to push you, you'd get it done. But deciding what those 4 or 5 things are, that's where the real challenge comes in. So what are the different routes that you can take to actually get yourself to the goal that you're looking for? And I think this is the reason why so many people, they kind of get themselves to the point where they set themselves a target. Let's say they've kind of done the diagnosis inside their head. They've realized that they actually do want to get some results, but then they're not clear on the course of action that they want to take, because there's so many different options that are available to them. They end up doing absolutely nothing. Now, if you've got any questions or any queries about what I've said, just pop your question below, either in the Instagram or in the Facebook, and I am going to come back to it, because I'll save a few minutes towards the end for some live coaching if anyone would like to take that up. But we're looking specifically at how to get ready for a challenge. So how do you kind of decide the course of action that you want to take? You actually are very specific about identifying things that are going to get you to your results. So, it's quite an easy one to do in terms of saying, how do I get to get fitter? How do I become healthier? So one thing would be to do a 5K. Another thing would be to count your calories on an app such as MyFitnessPal. A third thing could be to actually go and do a kind of like a full body analysis, a bloods analysis, and to understand, what minerals and vitamins and things you may be lacking, any allergies that you've got, and you use that as a starting point. So all these things are going to actually help you to get to that result of being healthier, because it's so loosely defined. So you're now also then seeing how the specificity of the results that you're looking for is absolutely critical. To say, I just want to get healthier, yeah, okay, but what does that really mean? To say, I want to have a body fat of about 25, which is pretty good if you're a woman. I'd say, you know, anywhere between the, gosh, I've even forgotten the male range, but I think it's, you know, somewhere in the lower teens is good for guys. If you want to get to that, that is a very, very specific result. And you can see that. You can see how you would know if you've achieved that. You know, one of the things that I'm going to be doing in January is something called Red January. And essentially in January, I'll be running 5 kilometers a day, every single day for the whole month. It's something that I did last year, but I joined the challenge late, even though I'd done it for a few days. I actually didn't hear about it until the 3rd. But I thought it was such a good thing to do because it's a very positive kind of mental health event that people are trying to raise awareness of how exercise can actually help you to be, to be more responsive to any mental health issues that you're facing, and actually to kind of, you know, I suppose, bring in some of the really, really positive hormones and etc. So it's something that I'm doing again this year. But look at how specific that is. I diagnosed the situation. I knew that I wanted to get healthier. I determined the results, 5K a day for 31 days. And I decided the course of action. So I signed up for Red January. You can do this. You can take exactly the same process and do it in any area of your life. All you need to do is to identify the area that you want to work on and then literally do the analysis. Best thing to do is with a pen and paper and literally just go. Then it's all over to you, because no one else is going to come in and do the work for you. But if you're ready to do the work and if you're serious about the challenge that you've set yourself, honestly, you can do anything that you want. The only thing that is going to limit your ability to achieve in this world is your imagination. When you know, I mean, look, people didn't even know that the internet could be an idea or a concept, or Facebook or any of these other things. Someone imagined these things and turned them into a reality. And when you do that, you see the power of what you can do. So go for it. Really, like, be as crazy as you want to be in terms of deciding what you want to try and achieve, and then go through this 3-step process where you diagnose the situation, determine what the results are that you'd like, and literally decide your course of action, and then just go for it. All you've got to do. Now, I haven't seen any questions come in for me in this live session today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this one up. If you have got any, I'm going to try and come live at a similar time tomorrow. I was a bit late today because they were downstairs watching. There's a Master Chef on the BBC or something, which is previous winners, and you know, so I just got a little bit distracted by that. But I will be here tomorrow at a similar time. Send me your questions and I will pick those up. And know that I want you to believe in yourself as much as I believe in you. And I believe in your capability. I believe in your persistence. I believe in your imagination. I believe in the fact that you can actually get this thing done. So whatever it is that you want to do, work out how you're going to do it, and then literally just go there. And I think you should believe in yourself as well. All right then, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching the replay, just hit replay below. And if you've got any questions, just message me, just put a comment, and we'll pick those up as well. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow.